There's a hair, perhaps attached to my hat. I can see in the corner of my eye, but I can't get it, and it's driving me crazy. Hello! Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. Oh my God. Hold on. Da-da. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have quite a few stuffs and things to talk about. Let me get you the run through right now. We're going to do a reading from Peter Straub's The Throat. We're going to talk a little bit about how you're all holding up during this certain public health crisis, this weird, wild time. How are you doing? I'll tell you how I've been doing, what I've been doing, talk about some of the little inconveniences that have cropped up lately. I have a package from a viewer that I'm going to show you, or it's just an item that I got from a viewer that I thought was pretty cool. We're going to talk about some videos that we'll be posting and videos that have posted. What did you think of the last video? There is a product, well, a brand of products that I'm going to be reviewing soon, or I'm going to be reviewing several products from a certain brand soon, and I just wanted to give you a heads up about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about Robert McConnell folded Flake. I just recorded a first impressions video for that. And then we will, of course, end with your questions on hashtag askstuffandthings. Remember to keep those questions coming. Tweet at SAT Bradley with the hashtag askstuffandthings, and I'll answer your questions. But first, as I mentioned, we have a reading from Peter Straub's The Throat. Peter is a wonderful guy. I've spoken to him many times now. He's an award-winning author. He is a Patreon supporter, and he has allowed us to read to you from his book, The Throat. So in the last episode, our hero had gone to, I believe, purchase illicit substances from a Vietnamese woman and mentioned that DeMaestro had sent him. Or, I guess DeMaestro, she thinks he's dead. Was he dead? I can't remember. Anyway, let's continue. Sis, again the narrow half smile. 6 was more than DeMaestro's usual order. She knew I was being diddled. She padded into a back room and opened and closed a series of drawers. In the enclosed front room, I began to smell myself. The dead man. That was me too. Oh, so she's calling DeMaestro the dead man because he smells like bodies because he's on the body detail. Okay. Li Lai came out of the back room carrying a rolled cellophane parcel of handmade cigarettes. Ah, I thought. Pot. We were back to the recreations of Berkeley. I gave Li Lai $25. She shook her head. I gave her another $1. She shook her head again. I gave her another $2, and she nodded. She tugged at the front of her loose garment, telling me what to do with my parcel, or with the parcel, and watched me place the wrapped cigarettes inside my shirt. Then she opened the door to the sun and the smells and the heat. The children materialized around me again. I looked again at the smallest, the filthy child of 2 I had noticed earlier. His eyes were round, and his skin was a smooth shade darker than the dusty gold of the others. His hair was screwed up into tight rabbinical curls. Whenever the other children bothered to notice him, they gave him a blow. I sprinted across the street to another open-fronted shop and bought Jack Daniels from a bowing skeleton. The children followed me almost to the gate, where the soldier on duty scattered them with a wave of his M16. In the shed, DeMaestro unrolled the cellophane package and inspected each tight white tube. "Lily loves your little educated ass," he said. Scoot had produced a bag of ice cubes from the enlisted man's club and dropped some of them into plastic glasses. Then he cracked open the first bottle and poured for himself. "Life on the front," he said. He drank the entire contents of his glass in one swallow. Outstanding. He poured himself another glass. "Take this slow," DeMaestro said to me. "You won't be used to this stuff. In fact, you might want to sit down." "What do you think we did at Berkeley?" I said, and several of my colleagues called me a sorry-ass schniz. "This is a little different," DeMaestro said. "It ain't just grass." "Give him some and shut him the F up," said Attica. "What is it?" I asked. "You'll like it," DeMaestro said. He placed a cigarette in my mouth and lit it with a Zippo. There you are, another reading from Peter Straub's The Throat. It looks like our hero is about to get a little bit loose. All right, next week we will continue with that. But as I mentioned, we have some things to talk about. First of all, it is week what now? How many weeks has it been since the stay-at-home orders or the shelter-in-place orders or the self-quarantine orders have come through? I know it varies state by state. I think there are still a couple states in the US where these orders haven't even been issued yet. For me, I have done 2 weeks of no work. I've been laid off for 2 weeks. I think the stay-at-home order officially has been on for 3 weeks in the state of Washington, or around there, close to that. And I don't know, aside from the fact that I'm not working or making any money, which is kind of frightening and makes me get a little stressed out, aside from that, I'm doing fine. I've been keeping myself busy. We talked about that a little bit in last week's Sunday Stuff and Things, and I was talking about how I was going through and sort of reconnecting with hobbies that I hadn't maybe indulged in a while. I had gotten my old Rickenbacker out and had cleaned that up. Rickenbacker, I know. Cleaned that up, put new strings on it, and I've been enjoying playing that. And I was wondering, you know, how are you all doing? What kind of hobbies are you engaging in? Are there things that you used to do but you didn't think you had time for anymore, or things that had just kind of gone by the wayside that now you're reconnecting with? Is there a silver lining to all this at all? I know that most of us, pretty much all of us, would just like to get back to our normal everyday lives, but in the midst of all this nonsense, are there things that you've been able to do that you wouldn't have had time for, or maybe wouldn't have thought about doing, now that you're sort of forced to make fun for yourself, make activities for yourself? Let me know in the comments. Like I said, I've been doing the stuff with guitar. I also have a bass, and I have never really played bass. I sort of just figured it out, used it on a couple songs back in the day, and it's kind of a long story why I even have it, but I still have it. It's a Fender P bass, but it has active pickups, and it is a weird model, and I can't remember what the model is, but it has P bass pickups, and it also has a jazz bass, or no, it has jazz bass and P bass pickups, yeah, and then like a weird blend tone knob. I don't know. It's a weird bass, but I don't know much about basses or playing the bass, but I thought I would get it set up, check the neck and do all that stuff, and then maybe try to learn how to play bass. I can play guitar, sort of, so I figured bass wouldn't be that difficult. But I am having a heck of a time getting it set up and playing the way I think it should play. And that's one of the little inconveniences, things that you wouldn't really think about. Like, we can't go to bars, we can't go to clubs, we can't have gatherings. There are so many things that we can't do right now. But the weird little things, the kind of nagging little things that I never thought about in the midst of all this, those are the things that kind of bother me more. And obviously we have, in the great scheme of things, it's something very small, but I can't bring the bass in to a music store to have it set up properly by a professional. Isn't that weird? That's a weird little thing to think about, but I just can't do it right now. So I'm stuck on my own, fiddling around, trying to figure out exactly how to get this thing set up. And again, it's not a big deal, but it's just something, I think you get used to a certain lifestyle where there's almost instant gratification, and there are pros and cons to that, obviously. But for me, it's one of the reasons why I think I would have trouble living in a place like Spain or other places in Europe where, you know, people will take a siesta in the middle of the day and they'll close up shops. And me being who I am and used to certain things, if it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I go someplace, I'm like, what, they're closed? What's going on? I can't get the thing I need right now? And maybe it's a nice sort of wake-up call to kind of realize you don't need everything right away. But the fact that I have all this time and there's something I want to do, but I'm having trouble doing it because no place is open for me to take my bass in to have it set up. Again, I know it's ridiculous and it's not important at all, but that's just one of the little nagging things that have occurred to me. What about you guys? What out there are you just unable to do that you would like to do? Something that could fill time right now when a lot of people are forced to just sort of, I guess, rely on their ability to entertain themselves. I guess a lot of people are just watching Netflix or watching television or whatever, but I'd be curious to hear some stories in the comments below. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all staying healthy and happy. It's nice to hear from you, especially in the comments, getting questions on Twitter and things like that. And also through the good old-fashioned US mail, I've been getting a few things. And one thing I wanted to show you all, there is a viewer named Caleb who had written me on Instagram, I think, asking if I had checked my P.O. box recently, and it had been a while, so I was like, okay, I'll go check. And there was a package from Caleb, and in it was this. It's very cool. I don't know if you can tell what that is exactly, but it's basically what looks to be a test tube with some pipe blend in it. I'm wondering what this is exactly. It could almost be Elizabethan, but it's kind of broken up since it's been dried now, and it doesn't look like a long ribbon anymore. And then the end has been, obviously closed up. I'm not sure what would you use to do that? Obviously heat was something that was applied, but just really nicely cut off there and sealed. And now it's a tamper, basically. I'm assuming that's what it's for. That's what I've been using it for anyway. I had cleaned it off before the video, but it's very cool. It's a neat little relic. And maybe Caleb, you could let me know what blend is inside here. So thank you very much for that. I just thought I'd show that. I thought that was cool. So, what did you all think of the guitar video that posted last Wednesday? I know that many of you have not watched the guitar video because I do look at the views on YouTube, but for those of you who have, did you enjoy that? There are a lot of people who in the past, when I used to record in my old apartment, way back in the day, before Stuff and Things Studios, you would see a Rickenbacker hanging on my wall sometimes, and I also had like a Vox AC15 amp, and people were always saying, oh, do a video on the amp, do a video on the guitar. I always resisted that for a long time. Mostly because it was just like another huge can of worms to be getting into on the channel, but also because I'm just not very good and it's embarrassing to play an instrument poorly on the internet so everyone can criticize you. I don't care about that too much, I guess. I'm old enough to not really care about that kind of thing, I guess. But I did a video where I cleaned that guitar. It was sort of like taking it out of mothballs, not literally, but figuratively, cleaning it up, restringing it, and it's something that, as I mentioned, I'm trying to reconnect with now that I have more time on my hands. And I'm just curious, did you guys like that? Would you like to see more of that kind of thing? Mostly just about music, about maybe gear a little bit. Like I said, I'm not a good guitar player. I'm not an amazing guitar player. I'm not even a good guitar player. I'm a barely passable guitar player. So you could see me playing a very nice instrument very poorly. And does that kind of thing appeal to you? I'm not sure. I have a couple other things that you might like to see. There may be a Martin acoustic to show you in the future, but I just kind of want to gauge your interest on that. Is that something that you would like to see on the channel? Let me know. As far as other future videos coming up on the channel, like I mentioned, we have a first impressions video of Robert McConnell folded Flake. I have some in my 1962 Dunhill Shellbriar Billiard right now. Hold on. Just recorded the first impressions. I don't know why I was talking like that. And it's pretty tasty. I think I'm liking it quite a bit. So this video, the first impressions video, will be coming up this Wednesday. The final review might be in 2 weeks' time or 2 weeks after the first impressions video, because I may be doing a video on some products that I'm getting from Nomad. Have you ever heard of Nomad Leather? They make some really cool stuff, and this is actually a company that I reached out to because way back, I was looking forward to getting some Moment lenses for my iPhone 11 Pro. And Moment makes their own proprietary cases for your iPhone that you can mount the lenses on. I ordered one of their cases. It was way delayed. When it finally came, I just didn't like it at all. And so I haven't had a case to actually mount the Moment lenses to, but Nomad makes these really nice high-end leather cases for iPhones, and they do have cases that you can mount the Moment lenses to. So I was like, I would love to try that. So I reached out. A nice person from Nomad got back to me. They said, yeah, we'll send you some stuff. You can review them on the channel. Unfortunately, this was like way back at the beginning of March. They sent them and then I never got them. And I felt like a jerk because I'm like, did not receive the items, don't know what happened. and they were nice enough to say, okay, we'll just send them out again. So I'm getting them soon, I think maybe Monday or Tuesday. So I'll probably show you a little preview on the next Sunday Stuff and Things, and then we'll do a review coming up soon on those items. I think I might be getting a wallet as well. So it's just really, really well-made leather goods. At least it looks like it to me by seeing some of the reviews I've seen in the past and looking at their products on their website. Again, it'll depend on what I actually think when I get them, but I'm looking forward to trying them out. And it's been a while since we've done like a leather review or a leather product review. So that'll be coming up. Also, we'll have the final verdict of Folded Flake eventually. We also have every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday a gameplay video on Stuff and Things Plays. Currently, we are doing Outer Wilds every Monday and Friday, and then an Animal Crossing New Horizons video on every Wednesday. Just kind of check in every once in a while. It's not the kind of game that you just sit down and play for any length of time and do like a long play series on, at least I don't think. But people seem to be enjoying those, so check those out as well. And I will keep you appraised of any other videos that I have planned. But now I think I have blathered on enough. It is time to hear from you. If you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, tweet at SATBradley with the hashtag askstuffandthings. And I will do my best to answer you in a timely manner on the next, or maybe the one after the next Sunday Stuff and Things. Also, if you are a Patreon supporter, you can ask me questions there. Definitely appreciate the support on Patreon, especially now when I am unemployed. I know probably a lot of you are unemployed as well, so I really appreciate you helping me out on Patreon. Link in the description box below. And first, via Patreon, we have a question from David Suttle. David says, how's the backpack and skateboard? I've been super interested in that. I bought both. Whoa! The backpack he's referring to is the Knack pack that I reviewed on the channel a ways back, about a month ago, maybe a little more. That bag is very cool. You should check out that review if you haven't seen it yet. And I was using it every single day, but I think my fiance is going to be stealing it from me. She really likes it, and she's really looking forward to using it. She has, hopefully, a trip planned in June to go see her mom, and so I think she's going to be using it for that. And that's really where I think that pack shines. It's just great for travel. And then the skateboard, I finally got out on it again yesterday or the day before. And let me tell you, for someone who is just starting out on skateboard, has not tried, who doesn't have years of experience or even like weeks of experience on it, it's like I was starting all over again. It really sucks that like I'm not practiced enough to be, you know, like you haven't ridden a bike in 10 years, you can just jump on a bike and you're fine. It's not like that with me for the skateboard, but I'm hoping to get to that point, especially as the weather's been getting nicer. It's windy as hell here right now today, but it's actually getting sunny. The weather is getting a little warmer, and hopefully I'm going to get out on that a lot and try it out. But David, what kind of skateboard did you get? Let me know on Patreon. Next, from Twitter, we have a question from CC Ward at CC Larry Ward. Larry says, hey Bradley, just wanted to let the other viewers know that the Red Dead Redemption 2 series on the SAT Plays channel is great for binge watching during the shutdown. Hope you are well, my good friend. Stay safe and vigilant, everyone. So thank you very much, Larry, for that little endorsement. Yeah, I was going to suggest this too, and obviously this is sort of helping myself out, but if any of you are bored and you want something to watch, the Red Dead Redemption 2 series, or a lot of the long form series I've done on Stuff and Things Plays, are great, because there are many episodes, usually over 30 minutes, around 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes long. And especially Red Dead Redemption 2, there's an overarching story that goes throughout the entire series that's really, really well done. I'm not talking about my videos, I'm just talking about the story in the game. So check it out if you haven't yet, or any other games on that channel. I have a bunch of playlists with a bunch of different series, so check it out. Next, from Tyler at Tyler Brubaker20, Tyler says, hey Bradley, congrats on the move, friend. My question is, what supplies do you use to deep clean your pipes, and how often do you deep clean? Not often enough. I don't deep clean my pipes as often as I need to. I usually don't do it until when I notice that they are starting to taste bad or like really acrid or sour. And usually that involves some sort of alcohol cleaning. I have I have some like bristle pipe cleaners that I will use for really deep cleaning. I'll wet them in alcohol, sometimes grain alcohol. If I don't have a nice grain alcohol, I will use just isopropyl alcohol, but I prefer a grain alcohol. I wet the pipe cleaner, really scrub out the shank and the stem, and then I'll do the same inside the bowl. You have to be really careful not to get alcohol on the outside of the bowl because most pipes use an alcohol-based stain, and you'll just take that right off if you're not careful. And then once I've done that, I haven't been able to do this in a long time, but my brother owns a buffer, a buffing wheel, and I like to really go after the stems, get everything buffed, and then get some carnauba wax and put it over the entire pipe, the stem, the bowl, and everything. And that's kind of the complete deep clean, and it also protects the pipe. So I know a lot of people don't have access to a buffing wheel. If you really want to try to clean the stems and get some of the oxidation off, you can use a polish sometimes, like even a silver polish, but I don't know. I don't know if I can recommend that or not, especially some people try to use like a really high grit sandpaper or a fine grit sandpaper, and it can work, but you can also sort of sand away your button. You have to be careful. So just do anything like that at your own risk. And last, we have a question from Jeff Woodruff at Woodruff_Jeff, which I've kind of already answered. He says, how about riffing on the Rickenbacker? Rickenbacker. The family says Rickenbacker, but I have so much trouble bringing myself to say Rickenbacker. It just seems like it should be Rickenbacker. So I don't know. Anyway. And I already kind of mentioned, if I hear enough of you saying that you would like to see some music stuff on the channel, I will do some music stuff on the channel. But gang, thank you for those questions on hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Please keep those questions coming. But now it is time for the best part of the Sunday Stuff and Things, and that is where I thank you, my Patreon supporters, for being so generous. Anyone who supports the channels on Patreon at $25 or more a month gets a special shout out. And now more than ever, in these crazy times, I really, really appreciate you guys. So I would like to thank people like Glenn, Derek, Cody Striegler, Kirk Crompton, Private Eye, C.W. Piperman, Ryan McFadin, corbynborbyn, Adam Loveless, MDoftheNorth, Ryan Stauffer, and AJ Hoge. And now for the Maniac tier, the people who support the channels at $100 a month and who are entitled to a Skype conversation with me. People like Peter Straub, thank you so much, Peter. Bob Magee, thank you, Bob. And Michael Pilcher. Thank you all so much, and thank you all so much for watching. Please leave comments, subscribe, like, do all that good stuff, and please keep your questions coming to hashtag #AskStuffandThings on Twitter. I can't wait to hear from you all. I can't wait to see you next week. And also make sure you check out the first impressions video of Robert McConnell Folded Flake. All the good stuff coming up on Stuff and Things Plays, and all the other videos that we'll be posting on both channels. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. Whew, I'll see you later. It is still there.